Am I the a-hole for not letting my daughter go to a birthday party because she lied about putting on sunscreen? I, 33F, have a daughter 10F who is very pale. She's a ginger if that's any indication, and she was invited to a swimming party by her classmate. I asked her if she put on sunscreen and she said she did, but I had a feeling she was lying, so I asked her more questions about it, which just led to more lying. I put it on upstairs earlier, I put it on in the car, etc., which really upset me because she has a history of lying. I've talked to her several times throughout maybe the past 3 years about how I don't care if she does something bad, she should just not lie. Just last week she lied about something related to school and I talked to her again about not lying. This time when she lied, I decided to actually punish her by not letting her go to the party. I feel really bad, but at the same time, I feel like she doesn't take me seriously because I never really punish her. But also she thinks it's better to lie so she doesn't get punished. I don't feel like I'm that harsh because the worst I've ever done was take her phone away for a day. I think I'm the because I feel like it's such a small lie, but at the same time, I feel like lying about small things will eventually turn into lying about big things. Am I the a-hole for not telling my sister-in-law about the life insurance policy my brother left for me? 7 years ago, my brother, Alan, made a seemingly rash decision to marry someone pretty suddenly. January from very early on they had issues that she often brought to everyone. This is not how the family operates, and if I am being honest, she made everyone extremely uncomfortable multiple times by airing her grievances to anyone who would listen. Nothing major, no abuse or cheating or anything. Despite that, my family was warm to her because really it was Alan's life and decision. We accepted her and her child from a previous marriage and were thrilled when they welcomed a child together. I say I'm confident that, at the very least, Alan was leery of her because he called me out of the blue to remind me I was the beneficiary of his insurance policy and that he'd like me to use that money to create education funds for the kids. This conversation took place 2 years ago. Well, Alan died in an accident about 3 months ago. Jen has continued to utilize the family for help, which is totally fine. I went through the process with the life insurance company and submitted all needed paperwork and everything seemed fine. I 100% intend to abide by Alan's wishes. Everything was okay with Jen until recently. Jen started acting outwardly hostile, accusing my and Alan's mother of stealing Alan's money. Jen, likely with the urging and help of a third party, went digging into information about life insurance and learned that there is a policy, though she could not get additional info as she is not the beneficiary. This appears to be where and when she decided to start acting hostile. She is outwardly confrontational to my mom, not me. I attempted to sit down with Jen and explain things with the help of a translator, believing that, perhaps, a language barrier and a lack of understanding of how these things work were creating problems. She is not originally from here. She went off screaming about how she's his wife and the money is hers and my mother is stealing from her. I tried to explain that my mother has nothing to do with this and I'm not stealing anything. She wants to hear none of it and seems to waffle between my mother forced my brother to make her the beneficiary. She's not on it, and there was no beneficiary, there is. She also does not find it acceptable that this money will be going toward the children's educational needs. I don't understand why. She stormed off. I was mortified by her behavior. I left, apologized to the translator, and haven't attempted to speak with her again, although I've seen the children for already scheduled events. Am I the a-hole for skinny dipping in my sister's backyard with her permission? My sister, 31F, owns a house in the suburbs with a pool. I, 26F, visit and stay over often. Last night around 11 p.m., we both decided to go skinny dipping at our pool, at my suggestion. The backyard has a high fence that should obscure us, or so we thought. This morning, my sister's neighbor from across the street who lives in a 2-story house came over and started telling my sister that her 11F and 9M kids saw us skinny dipping because their rooms are on the second floor, which apparently overlooks my sister's backyard. She even claimed her kids are now traumatized and said she'll call the police if we ever skinny dip again. We obviously didn't mean for her kids to see us and we just wanted to have some stupid fun on my sister's private property. Am I the a-hole for refusing to send my daughter to public school or ask my brother-in-law to pay for my stepkids to go to private school? I, 25F, have a daughter, 8F. I had her when I was very young and her father was never in the picture. My older sister, 34F, and her husband, 39M, have helped me a lot. Raising my daughter alone and going to college would have been impossible without them. My sister is a som and my brother-in-law is quite wealthy due to his family business. They pay for my daughter to go to the same private school as their kids, 11M, 8F, and 6F. It's very expensive but my brother-in-law can afford it and I'm very grateful to them for giving my daughter more opportunities. I recently got married and my husband, 36M, has 3 daughters, 12, 9, 7. They go to our local public school, which is good but not as good as the private school my daughter goes to. Last night he told me that he thinks it isn't fair that my daughter goes to a 40K/year private school while his daughters have to go to public school. He said that next year I need to either send my daughter to public school or ask my bill to pay for his daughters to go to private school. I told him that I'm not doing that because I want my daughter to have all the opportunities I didn't have. I went to a shitty inner city public school, and my brother-in-law can afford to send 7 kids to private school. He got mad at me and said that our kids are siblings now and everything needs to be equal between them. Am I the a-hole because I told my parents to choose between living in my garage or a nursing home? I don't drive and live in my forever house with my dogs. My kids are grown up and I'm a widow. I converted my garage into a legal guest house with everything a person needs for when the kids visit. Independent washroom, kitchen, everything. My parents have recently asked me if they can move in with me. I agreed and talked to my kids to let them know that if they came for a visit the garage was taken so they would have to stay in the house. My parents showed up on the appointed day and the kids showed up with their families to help get them moved in. And they actually had already arranged a hotel for one family so we would not be crowded. My parents were confused as to why we were moving their stuff into the garage. I told them that was where they were staying. They said that they thought they could move into my house since I have 5 bedrooms. I explained that I actually have 2 bedrooms since one room is my office where I see clients, one is my private office, and one is my hobby room. The spare bedroom is mostly for my mutts. They said that they wanted to live in the house, not out in the garage like Funzy. I said it was a take it or leave it situation. If they didn't want the garage they could move into a nursing home or something. They are upset that they are living rent-free in a private guest house that is fully up to code.